Welcome everybody to another I Get It live session. My name is Tim Harrison. I'm the content manager on Autodesk Consultant for I Get It. If you have any questions about today's topic, you can always email me at tim@myigetit.com. And so for today's session, we're going to be looking at something a little bit different. We're going to be looking at iCheckIt for Inventor. And iCheckIt is a design checking piece of software that we develop at Tata Technologies. And we're going to look at how that integrates into the Inventor software and how you can use that in your PLM design process to check your designs. So just a kind of a quick review, if you're not too familiar with our iProducts line of products for from Tata Technologies, I'm sure you're already familiar with the I Get It product because you're here for the I Get It live session. So that's our Learn platform for myigetit.com. Then we have iCheckIt, which is a separate third-party piece of software that we create internally. You can find that at myicheckit.com. And then we also have a third piece, which is iCompareIt, which actually, after you've learned how to use the software, you've checked your designs as you've gone along, and then afterwards, after you've actually built your physical part, you can compare the physical part or assembly that you've created back to your original CAD design with iCompareIt. So today we're going to be looking at iCheckIt. So what is iCheckIt? We like to say that iCheckIt acts like a spell checker for your CAD. Just as you would use Microsoft Word or some sort of word processing program, nowadays they all have spell checkers in there, which is a great thing for me. With your Inventor models, as you're designing, what is actually checking that you actually did something or that you actually put in the information your company standards needs, those kind of things within your designs. And that's where iCheckIt helps you with that particular process. So as we like to say, it allows customers to apply standards to check and validate your designs to prevent design issues and reinforce standards, resulting in better quality. It also will reduce your production time and increase your productivity potentially. And then one other little thing with iCheckIt. So with iCheckIt, we currently have over 150 checks that are customizable that are already preset within the software. Uses quality metrics and scoring. And then for checks that when you get in there, maybe there's a check that you don't necessarily, something you have specific that maybe we don't already have as a check in there already. We also have the ability to add customer specific add-ons for the dictionary. So if you have a custom check that you need, we can always work with you to create that check. iCheckIt is fully integrated within the, once you load it, it loads into the software. And then I would just point out here at the bottom of this slide, not only do we have iCheckIt for Inventor, but we also have iCheckIt that works with CATIA and with PTC Creo. So that's also, if you have needs in those softwares as well, we have iCheckIt also works on those platforms. So with that, let's just jump right into Inventor and see how we can check our designs using iCheckIt in Inventor. Switch over. So I'm going to open up, I got an assembly here we'll use for our demo today. And I'm just going to check this out of Vault just so we have it. All right, so we have this design. Say we got this, either we were working on this or maybe say you got this from somebody else. This design looks pretty good. I don't know, doesn't, maybe there's nothing wrong with this, but we don't really know that until we run our iCheck on it. So as you'll see, we get a new iCheckIt tab that loads into Inventor when we load the software. We have a couple options here. The administrator side, you see if you're set as the administrator. The user side, like if so you have a CAD administrator, they'd see the administrator. All your users would only see the monitor portion. We also have some options. We'll just quick look at the options real quick. So we have general. We're basically setting your folder locations for where you're pulling your standards from and where you're sending your reports to, what type of file you want to export your result as. And the point I wanted to kind of point out here is we have save options. So you can actually enforce your iCheck standards on your parts and assemblies on a save process if you'd like to do that. So you just simply check this on and then set what your options are for the different file types and you can actually have it run the check when you save. So you could actually even do this without having to have the user worry about running the check, and at least the reports are being created for those parts and assemblies. So that's just quick in the options there. We'll open up the administrator. So this is the administrator panel. On the left-hand side here, we have the dictionary of checks. These are all the standard checks that we have already created, and there's, like I say, there's over 150 of them in here. Whether they're general part, assembly, drawings, there's even some sheet metal, eye parts, materials, all kinds of different checks in here. So this is kind of the library of checks that are available. And then we can either start a new standard or we can open up an existing standard. I have a couple already created here. So this is the standard that you would run on your part or assembly file or drawing. So this is basically, we've taken from the library and we've put them into a standard. And then on the right-hand side, we have descriptions. So, you know, if you want to understand what these do, we have a little description file here on the right-hand side that describes what this check will do. These are all customizable. So we double-click on one of these. We have different candidates and behavior conditions. I'm going to open up one of these that has. Okay, so here's a iProperty for description. So this gives you, all the different options that you can change. Where that iProperty, what the iProperty is, whether it has number of characters, minimum length, maximum length. There's all kinds of options you can set in here. Again, you can select what candidate. So candidate would be either an assembly, drawing, part, or presentation document. Behavior, so you can just check. You can enforce, so you can actually make it do something automatically. Or you can check it and then manually enforce it once you're in the checking process. We'll look at that a little bit in a second. And then we also have options for conditions. You can actually write out conditions to modify how these work. And then there's also scoring. Scoring gets into maybe instead of having a pass or fail, if it hits a certain scoring mark, it would fail. If it's under a certain scoring mark, then it would still be passable. So that's what gets into scoring. We won't get too much into this kind of stuff today, but I just wanted to show you that there's options here. This one in particular is for the description iProperty. You can actually create a custom iProperty check for any single iProperty that you want, even custom iProperties within your parts and assemblies. So that's the administrator. So let's just get right into the monitor. I'm going to open up this part separately, and let's look at this part on its own. So we have this part, we've had it checked out of the vault, and it doesn't look too bad. We have a few things here maybe that we could visually see, but there might be some other stuff going on in here that we don't necessarily know. We'll go to I check it, select on monitor, and we get a little pop-up window. This is where we can select our standard. So that's where when I opened up in the administrator tool, the different standards that we created and added the different checks to it. These are all the existing standards that I have. I'm going to use just this part general example for right now. If I clicked more, it'll actually show you which checks will be running on this particular part file. So again, this is the same one that we just looked at in the administrator. We'll just select apply. And it just takes a couple seconds. It'll run the check, and you notice that it comes back. Currently, I have 10 passing. So these are items like there was a description. The design doctor is not on. You get the little red X that might come up when you have something broken or sick within your part file. So didn't find that. End of part. Want to make sure the end of part was at the end. Part update. So there was no update required on this particular part. So all these items that are listed here pass the check. These items were ones that didn't pass the checks that were set in our standard. So we have work feature visibility forbidden. So what happened here is we actually have a couple of work features, the XY plane. You see if I click it in the I check a monitor here, it'll actually highlight them in the graphics window. So the XY plane was currently, the visibility is turned on, and so is work plane 1. we could either exit out of here and go in there and manually turn the visibility of those off, or in this particular case, if I can either select them individually, or I'll just select the overall check for the work feature visibility forbidden. And on the right hand side here, there's a little plus sign for enforce. We'll select that, and you'll notice that automatically visibility was turned off on those two items in the browser and in the graphics window. So if you had all kinds of work planes turned on, and this is something that again, this is something that maybe your company doesn't want to have turned on your final released parts, you can one click out of the monitor here and we'll turn all those off without having to go in there and right click visibility on every single one of them. So let's see what's next. Unused work feature forbidden. So this is just a best practice kind of thing to not have additional work features that aren't being used. And in this case, this was again that work plane 1 that was at the end of the list here. Doesn't have anything, there has no children to it, it wasn't used for anything. So our standard is saying that we don't want to have any unused work features again, and you can watch it in the browser here. I can simply select enforce, and it actually removes it right out of the part file without having to go in there. So if somebody was going crazy and adding all kinds of work features in there all throughout the browser, you got, they're all over the place and it's going to take you forever to find them. Literally one click just removes them right out of the file. Simple and easy. Let's see what else I have in here. So unconstrained sketch geometry. So this is one that isn't real obvious. This is stuff that's going on inside the sketch, inside the sketches within this part that you don't necessarily see just by looking at the part. It's always the best practice to make sure that your sketches are fully constrained. And this actually shows you actually all of the sketch and sketch points, sketch lines and sketch points, everything that was under constrained within sketch 2. There's a whole bunch of them. And then sketch 5 and sketch 15. So much like a spell checker, sometimes it will tell you that a word is wrong, but it's not telling you which word is right. It might give you suggestions, but it might not. You need to do a little more work on your end to know exactly what the right spelling of a word is. This is kind of the same situation here, where it told you, well, there's under constrained geometry in the sketch, but it can't just make those changes. It doesn't know what to do with them. It's just telling you what to do, or that there's an issue there. So that's fine. We're going to go in here and we'll see if we can clean up a couple of these real quick. We'll edit this sketch 2, and you notice, well, this sketch wasn't even constrained. I mean, it's just sitting in space. It's the overall box size has got dimensions, but it's actually not constrained in space at all, which is certainly not a best practice. We want to make sure that we have our sketches fully constrained. So I'll put a couple dimensions in here. We'll finish that sketch. And let's just run the monitor again and see what we got now. So again, we still had a couple in there. We'll see what we got. So again, so we'll see sketch 2 is no longer listed. We have sketch 5, sketch 15, and 16. So let's see if we can find where was sketch 5? Oh, here it is. All right, so again, this one looks pretty good. There's nothing wrong here, right? No, doesn't seem to be, shouldn't be any issues here. But you notice this point here is actually not constrained. So again, something that visually, if you're looking at it real quick and not really paying attention, you'd have to look down here in the right-hand corner to see if that dimension, if there was, if it was fully constrained or if there was a dimension missing or whatever. So in that case, this pointed out to us without having to do much work at all, that there was already an issue in this particular sketch where we would have maybe never found it later, and then something accidentally gets changed on this part file, and that center point gets moved, and now you've got a design issue with your part later on down the stream, and you didn't even realize that could be a potential problem. I think I got 2 more. So 15 and 16. 15 actually, I'm going to leave alone for the moment, and then, oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to add something because I had it in here earlier and I don't have it in there now. But we'll look at 16 real quick. I think 16 is here, and again, this is one that's got, it's missing another dimension here. Look at that a nominal number. Actually, while I'm going to go back into the administrator here, I'm going to add something to that part file example. So I'm missing a head in here earlier, and this is actually a good time. I'm going to show how to add a check to the standard. So again, this in the middle here is our standard. I want to check for head feature unconstrained adaptive. Oh, I'm missing it right now. I had one in here for unused sketch, but for some reason I don't see it off the top of my head. Oh, it was in there. I'm sorry. It was in there. That's why I'm not finding it. It was in there the whole time. Empty sketch forbidden. Maybe I put something in this sketch. Maybe that's the problem. Oh, that's what I actually had. I forgot I had put a work point in that particular sketch. Sorry about that. So what I wanted to show was, yeah, this is what I wanted to show. So sorry about that. So empty sketch forbidden. That was what I was intending to show here. So in this case, we had a sketch. My point was to have a sketch that didn't have anything in it. And the same situation here, empty sketch. We could select that enforce. Oh, and actually this one is not. Well, I didn't take it. Sometimes, in this case, we're just going to delete it. I think because it had a center point from the origin. All right, so adaptive features, and this was the last one I had in here, adaptive features. In this particular part, hole 2 is showing as adaptive. Hole 1 is actually also, but Inventor is for some reason not recognizing this one as being adaptive. If you actually right click on this one, you'll notice adaptive is not an option here. So it's only looking at hole 2. So we'll apply this, and again, adaptive forbidden we can enforce, and it removes the adaptivity off that particular feature. So now at this point we have all of our checks that were in our part file example are fully checked, and we can click on report here, and this will pull up a PDF file that lists the results for the on the validation report, lists the candidates that it checked, the requirements that it was checking to, and then gives you information below here on all the information that it checked and says that it had passed. So that's a part file. Let's just look at the assembly real quick. I'm going to close this. Actually, we'll do a save. And then we'll run the same thing. Let's double check on the standard for assemblies. So the one I wanted to add here on assemblies was for interference. So assembly analyze interference. We just drag and drop them into the standard, and then we'll select save to save our standard. Go ahead and close this. So now we open up our monitor, select assembly. You'll see that our assembly analyze interference has been added to our assembly standard. We'll select apply. So we have a couple of things here. Description iProperty is missing. So again, this is one that it can't enforce on its own. We'll go in here and we'll look at description, and oh geez, the stock number got this shouldn't be in there. It should be in this field. So quick, easy check on that one. Select apply. Not visible component forbidden. So in this case, we have a component that the visibility was turned off. You know, sometimes you're in the middle of a design process and you turn the visibility of a part off, but you want it to be on the release state of your design. In this case, we had a part that was not visible. Again, this is one we can select enforce, and it just turns the visibility back on of that particular part file. And then analyze interference. So this one actually did an interference analysis on the part, or on this assembly, between the different components. What we found here is we have interferences between these couple of fasteners. So that's kind of as designed. As you know, when you create holes in Inventor, by default, your hole is shown at a minor diameter and your screws are typically shown at a major diameter. So there's going to be an interference there. So currently, we're showing, if we look at the report, we'll see that this particular one fails. We could go in to change some scoring on it to say, maybe if everything else passed, but this particular one failed, we'll still consider it as a passing part. Or we could do some additional modifications to our checks, maybe to just ignore content center items. We could do some customization to the checks so that we wouldn't necessarily see this. But the reason I actually wanted to show this is currently we're showing this by requirement. So this is doing across everything that's in this particular assembly file. We can check on by candidate. And then if we actually just select the items in the browser that we want to check to, so I'm just going to leave off those 2 screws, select apply again. Oh, and what did I get? No, I still had those. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong one. This is by requirement, display by candidate. This is actually just changing the display of what this report is showing, so we can show it either by the candidates or by the requirements. What I meant is, one line down further, candidates to process. So what I want to do is select candidates only instead of all candidates. And now I'm going to select the items out of the browser, select apply, and notice that we have our requirements passed. And we get a passing report on our validation report. Again, we might want to, if this is a real situation, we might want to actually do that modification or make a custom check to exclude these if it shows on interference, but I'm just showing this, a way that you can select just certain components within your assembly and not run it on every single thing within your assembly. And then in this case, maybe we'll just put a note in here. Screws not used in so again, that will end up showing on the comments within the validation report. And that's about it. That's quick and simple and easy. That uses this iCheckIt with inside of Inventor. Additionally, we have iCheckIt that will work integrated with Vault. So if I pull up Vault real quick, so this is actually with inside of Vault, you can actually run the iCheckIt checks and standards within the Vault. So you can have the user check on their end within Inventor. Then when your part files and assemblies end up into your Vault, you can actually run additional checks on those files within the Vault environment as well, just to ensure that once your files are in the Vault, that they've met all your company standards. You can even actually run iCheckIt on the different design phases or the different release phases of your PLM process within the Vault. So I just want to point that out. That's additional functionality that you can actually put the Vault with inside your or put iCheckIt with inside your Vault as well to check your parts and assemblies once they're in that into that process as well. If you have any questions or you're interested in this particular product, you can contact me or I can get you in contact with one of our salespeople. If you want additional information on iCheckIt, you can actually go to myicheckit.com. There's a download for a free trial, so you can download the free trial and check it out within your Inventor environment. And then use additional information there on how it works from the myicheckit.com. website. One point to note on this: if you just go to myicheckit.com, it will default to the CATIA version. Down here under products, you can check iCheckIt for Autodesk, and then you get there's the iCheckIt for Inventor and the Autodesk Vault integration version as well. And then as always, make sure to check out myigetit.com for additional hands-on projects for learning your CAD software. As the questions always come up, can I watch this I Get It live session later? One of my coworkers would really be interested in this. You can always watch the I Get It live sessions live when they're live for free. And then afterwards, with the professional subscription to My I Get It, you have access to, there's well over 100 videos at this point now under the I Get It live sessions within the My I Get It website. And again, once more, for iCheckIt, it's myicheckit.com. And if you have any suggestions for future live sessions, please send me an email. Maybe there's something that we haven't shown in a My I Get It course, or maybe there's something that we haven't covered in a live session, some little topic that you just for some reason can't find the information on, or you have a special case. Maybe it's something that we can get integrated into a future I Get It live session. So send me an email, tim@myigetit.com, and I'd be happy to try to see if we can get that topic maybe into a future live session. And with that, thanks everybody. That was a quick and easy one today. But again, if you have any questions about iCheckIt with Inventor or with Vault, please send me an email. I'll get you in contact with somebody if you're interested in purchasing. And always go and check out the myicheckit.com, check out the free trial, try it before you buy it kind of thing. So again, thanks everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you at the next I Get It live session. Thanks everybody.